everyone to a brand new video. I know this is a rather interesting one. Today we are actually going to feature some of the former Dave & Buster's stores and go through some of the history of them. So if you guys did not know, this building right in front of me right now, I know it doesn't really look like much, but this building right in front of me, 10707 Composite Drive right here, this is in Dallas, Texas, and this building right here is the very first Dave & Buster's arcade. And yes, it's not here anymore. It's been closed for like 15 years, but it is here in Dallas and it's still here to this day. So if you guys did not know, Dave & Buster's started here in Dallas, Texas. This was the very first Dave & Buster's location here in Dallas next to Interstate 35 near Walnut Hill Drive. And obviously here's the address of it, 10707 Composite Drive. But Dave & Buster's technically originated in Arkansas. And then the two founders met and moved their location of interest to Dallas, Texas. And this building right here was the very first ever Dave & Buster's. It opened in 1982. Very, very old. And especially right here, and the building has not been touched since. The sign just got taken down like pretty recently, like a couple of years ago when I looked up at some archives. But unfortunately, they put an entire fence around it. This never used to be here. So you cannot walk in there, unfortunately. And I think it's some like business or something else right now. But you can walk up to it. So that gate right there and that little path was the entrance to the very first Dave & Buster's, right where those doors were. And I might throw up some photos so you guys can see, but everything will match. The brick and everything matches, and this is what they built it with. And you guys can see the storefront. It looks very similar to a lot of other stores, which we'll cover later, but just the design of it looks very, very similar. And this building is about 35 to 40,000 square feet maybe. So it's about the size of some of the smaller Dave & Buster's stores. But this one was a little bit smaller, and then they started branching off to some very, very large stores. So a lot of the old stores that still exist are the largest ever. So literally walking up right there, that was the entrance. And the sign was right on the right side. It was right over there where that little driveway was, or that little entryway. And right where those doors were, made history with the Dave & Buster's arcade that we know today, right where those doors are. So yeah, although the building does not look special, it is very, very special because of the founders and because of Dave & Buster's. Without this, we would have not had Dave & Buster's that we know today. So it is just super, super unique and really, really cool that I got to visit this site. It is absolutely insane. Yeah, but like I was saying, it has been closed for 15 years, I think, around that time. And after this store, there was actually a second Dave & Buster's in Dallas, about 20 minutes east on the same Walnut Hill Drive. So they had this store, and then 20 minutes east was another store, which we'll cover next. But that store is nothing really special because it is completely demolished now, but you guys will still be able to see. So that store opened 6 years after this one, 1988. This one opened in 1982, the very first one. And then expanded down south to Houston, Texas, another growing suburb. And that's where they opened another Dave & Buster's, so you guys will see that. And unfortunately, that store is closed, but I do have some footage when I visited that store. So that was the third ever Dave & Buster's. And then after Texas, they branched off to Atlanta, Philadelphia, and then so on and so forth. And now we have the Dave & Buster's that we know today. So yeah, that is just insane. Really, really insane. Again, I'll throw up a bunch of archives after these clips or during these clips so you guys can see when it was a Dave & Buster's. There's very, very few archives. So luckily I do have some. And if you guys have some yourself or have actually been to the very first ever stores in Dallas or Houston or wherever, comment down below. I would love to see those. So if you guys are watching from Dallas, have grown up with the Dave & Buster's here before it shut down, let me know. But yeah, that's basically it. And we're going to head to the second ever Dave & Buster's, which is also right here in Dallas, and pick it up there. So yeah, really, really awesome. And I'll see you guys there. So here's the very first Dave & Buster's in the world in Dallas, Texas. It's where the trucks and all them come in. And there's like a little break area too. I don't know what that is. But again, it's all gated off. Everything is gated off, but this is what the building is, and it's still to this day the exact same building and everything. So that is just absolutely insane. The very first ever Dave & Buster's here in Dallas, Texas. Now we're gonna head to store number 2 and show you guys what it looks like. So this is one of the only archives that I found of the very first Dallas Dave & Buster's. You guys can see here is the parking lot, and there is where the sign was standing. So it's the exact same building, and then when it was a Dave & Buster's, you guys can see the blue and orange canopy, and the brick up top matches from the clip that I just posted. To this day, the building is still the same. You can match up the brick and everything, but it is just crazy to see that. The very first ever Dave & Buster's. Now we're going to head to the second one. And we have made it to the former site of the second ever Dave & Buster's here in Dallas, Texas. This is off of US 75 in Walnut Hill, and it's literally right across the street from the new site of the Dave & Buster's that opened when this store closed in 2012. And obviously now it looks a lot different. If you guys pull up Google Street View and Earth, you guys can see that the building is completely demolished, and back then it was the Dave & Buster's building. So this building is completely new, and the only way you could tell is that building behind the climbing gym is the same one that was behind the Dave & Buster's. So this is the former site and parking lot of the second ever Dave & Buster's in Dallas. Opened in 1988, which is really, really old. And it closed in 2012, and it got demolished shortly after. So it's been like this for a long time now, and it's completely unrecognizable. Unlike the first Dave & Buster's, which is still intact, which is crazy. But that's basically it. I'll pull up some photos so you guys can see. And obviously the only way to match it is that building right behind the climbing gym. That is the only way to tell that this used to be the Dave & Buster's. But that is basically it. We are going to head to Houston, Texas, which was the third ever Dave & Buster's. And then after that is when they expanded out of Texas after the 3 stores. And they expanded all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. So we're gonna show you guys the former site of the third ever Dave & Buster's, which shut down. And then currently the oldest one operating is in Atlanta, Georgia. So let's head on to Houston, Texas. So this is basically one of the only archives that I found of the second ever Dave & Buster's. And if you guys take a look to the very left of the screen, there is the exact logo where it used to be a Dave & Buster's. And this location closed a year after the first one and moved across the street. And make sure you guys pay close attention to that building just to the right of the old logo. That building is the exact same building that was behind the Dave & Buster's. And if you guys go across the street to the new one, you will see it again. So we just walked over to the other side from the old Dave & Buster's over there. You guys can tell that building, it all matches. And that building right there with the solar panels used to be the former site of the second ever Dave & Buster's. We were just over there, and literally right across the street, like I was saying, here's the new site of the Dave & Buster's in Dallas. This was, I would say, in a former movie theater. So they converted it into the Dave & Buster's when that store over there shut down in 2012. And that's why this store opened in 2012. It's because they moved it over here. So this is not the actual second site of the Dave & Buster's. It was over there, but you guys could tell the building and everything matches up. It's just the building is now a completely new one and the old one was demolished. But the first ever Dave & Buster's is still in the same building, so it's really cool to see that. But yeah, technically second site, and then this is the new Dave & Buster's location. So we're gonna go on in there, show you guys what it looks like now, and see what kind of games there are. So obviously nowadays it's a lot newer, but they still have some cool games here at the new Dallas Dave & Buster's, but nothing compared to the older one, since this store is a lot newer than the older store. So that's basically what they have here, and we're gonna be off to the next store. So we are currently here at the former Dave & Buster's. This is in Houston, Texas. This is the third ever Dave & Buster's that existed. Now it is currently a Tesla center, and they gutted the whole building out. So this was the third ever Dave & Buster's after they branched out. So this one was the largest one. This building is massive. This location closed during COVID for, I think, leasing issues in COVID. So it's shut down permanently. And since then, they've gutted everything out, thrown everything out, and this is what it looks like now. So honestly, they used most of the facade, and they basically just gutted out the entirety. So you actually can go inside, and I have some pictures that I might throw up on the screen, or you guys can take a look at my Instagram. But you can still walk inside, and those are, I believe, the same doors as the Dave & Buster's days. And they still have the front side where the old front desk and the brick was. So I might put a couple pictures from my video a long time ago that I actually came here when it was a Dave & Buster's, and compare and show you guys what it looks like now. So they still have the skylight and the roof and everything, but now it has since been torn out. Now it's an office. And after the whole front desk where the stairs used to be, which I'll show you guys, there's no longer access. There's just a garage right here, and it's just completely gutted out. Like, they literally tore out every single thing, like the dining room, the arcade, everything. No more anything. It is just straight, just a garage. So yeah, pretty insane. But we're gonna go around the whole building and show you guys the rest of the former original Houston Dave & Buster's. So back right here was where they used to have that canopy that stretched all the way out here, and they've patched it up and put like rocks and gravel. Really amazing is that they kept the same American flag that it stood here when it was a Dave & Buster's, and they have kept it here since, so that is very awesome. But honestly, they used part of the building, like all the brick right there is all from Dave & Buster's. They just painted over it. So the office in there is basically the only thing that remains from the Dave & Buster's days, and that skylight. And now it is completely torn out. And sorry for the wind again. It is super windy out here in Houston. But here's the garage. They literally gutted this out. If you open this garage right here, it is where the original pool table hall used to be. Might throw up a couple pictures of that if I can find it as well. But that is where the pool table hall used to be. And even if I was allowed inside, which I'm not allowed inside for obvious reasons, they have this, I guess, as a private business for just like if you were showcasing cars or whatnot. So you basically would walk inside, and I'm seeing like it's just a garage. It's just a whole empty warehouse. Like, there's absolutely nothing left in the Dave & Buster's days. And I've said it before, like, it's all gutted out besides that office. But yeah, here's that original back door and all of the brick that they just painted over. And this is all original brick still from the Dave & Buster's days. And you guys can obviously tell as well here, they have the brick from Dave & Buster's days. And they haven't painted over this. This is still here to this day. So this has been here since day one when it was a Dave & Buster's. There used to be a sign right there, which you can kind of tell. It was a Dave & Buster's sign. But yeah, it is now a Tesla private property full center. So luckily I'm able to shoot this video for you guys. The employees were really, really nice about it. Just a little quick thing. But technically, since it is a private business, I can't actually go in. But luckily I do have a couple pictures for you guys. So definitely take a look at those. But this is basically the last form of the Dave & Buster's in Houston. Houston off of Richmond Avenue. This was the original Dave & Buster's. This was the third ever store in the world. And it's been around ever since the 90s until it shut down during COVID. So it's very unfortunate. This is a very amazing store. This is a very awesome store. Now it is completely gone. The oldest store in the world that is currently operating is in Marietta, Georgia. That's outside of Atlanta. So I actually forgot to talk about the footage that I actually have of this Dave & Buster's in Houston, Texas. I do have some footage that I am about to throw up on the screen after I am done. But this was about 5-6 years prior. This was a very, very long time ago when I actually went to this store when it was a Dave & Buster's. So you guys will see that footage in a little bit. And you guys will see that I actually walked outside and it's the exact same Dave & Buster's. So make sure you guys enjoyed that footage. And I'm going to show you guys that right now. And then we are going to head to the next abandoned Dave & Buster's. Make sure you guys stay tuned and comment down below. What do you guys think? That it's actually, they have this midway bar with the old logo on the top, which is insane. And I'm going to show you guys the inside. They still have all these bricks. Old classic midway sign is here. Even the bars up top are still there. All the bricks are there. Wow, look at that. Even the dining room, all original. All original right there, no TVs yet. All original right here, all bricks. Poles are still there, all the chandeliers are here, all the booths are there, which is insane. Even the front too. They have these lamps. They have a million billiards pit tables, which are still here, as you can tell. And then they don't even have the, what is the Pitchmaster? It's just the original. And then this is all original too. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So that's pretty cool. We're done here with Dave & Buster's. We're gonna go to the next location now. Okay, check this out. Look how original this is. This is original canopy, valet. All of this is original. The sign's original. All the other stuff's original, which is crazy. But we just got done with Dave & Buster's. We have to go back to the stairs, the sign. We're gonna go to the next location now and see how well that we can do there. So here's an exclusive look inside of the Tesla Center, and this is basically the last form of the Houston Dave & Buster's. You guys can tell that skylight was when it was a Dave & Buster's, and then here's my clip before. There is the skylight when it was a Dave & Buster's. So they basically kept the front entryway the same, where you were walking up those little stairs to the front desk. So that is basically it. This is the third ever Dave & Buster's in Houston, and then here's a picture outside right before it shut down. This location shut down, and then now we are going to visit the oldest operating Dave & Buster's in Atlanta. All right, guys, so right now, this isn't a closed location, but I wanted to put it in the video. I am currently here at the Dave & Buster's in Marietta, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. If you guys did not know, this Dave & Buster's is open, but this is the oldest Dave & Buster's right now. And yeah, the building is all new and remodeled, but we are going to go in there and show you guys real quick before we head to Duluth, Georgia. What's interesting is that they still have the street lights here. So back in the day when Dave & Buster's had all these inside the building, those were all inside. So it looks like they just kept them in the parking lot. But this is the oldest Dave & Buster's. This is in Marietta, Georgia, and the other Dave & Buster's in Duluth closed since. But this is the fourth ever Dave & Buster's, and that's really, really awesome. So we're gonna head in there and then head to Duluth, Georgia, show you guys that store as well, because that store's abandoned. This one's not, but this is more like an abandoned video, obviously, but I did want to put this in of the Dave & Buster's in Marietta. So this is really, really cool. I'm gonna show you guys the inside. All right, guys, so we're here inside the Marietta, Georgia Dave & Buster's. This is the oldest Dave & Buster's. And back here is really cool. They have a cool little back area with a party room. And check this out. This is really cool. You have the view of Atlanta. It's kind of hard to see, but this is a really cool looking party room at this Dave & Buster's with everything. So that is not bad. So if you guys did catch what I said earlier about the other Dave & Buster's in the suburb of Duluth, Georgia, that is actually going to come later in the video. I am going to go in order of the stores in which they first opened. So that store in Duluth opened after a bunch of other stores, and after this store in Marietta, Georgia, is when they opened another Dave & Buster's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is one of the largest Dave & Buster's currently still operating, and it is still open to this day. So I do want to show you guys some footage of that, even though it is not abandoned yet. I want you guys to see that store. It is a very, very cool looking store. If you guys have been there, you guys will know. But after that store, we're going to go to another one. So here it is, the Dave & Buster's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Store number 5, opened right after Marietta, Georgia. And this location is probably one of the coolest Dave & Buster's of all time. And you guys will see that right about now. There is a party room at this Dave & Buster's that I am showing you guys right now. And this party room might actually be the greatest arcade party room in existence right here on the water of Philadelphia. It is fantastic, and you cannot believe that this is at a Dave & Buster's facing the water, riverfront. Absolutely unbelievable for a party room. Definitely one of the coolest looking ones ever. Very, very nostalgic party room. You guys saw that old logo on the door and everything. But this Dave & Buster's is the coolest looking Dave & Buster's probably in existence right now, and the second oldest right after Marietta, Georgia. You would have never been able to tell that Marietta, Georgia was an older store, but it is. But this is store 5. This is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on the riverfront in an old pier building. It is very, very cool. Definitely one of the coolest Dave & Buster's in the world. If you guys have not been here, I highly, highly recommend this store. It's a great experience all around. But that's the party room, and I'm actually going to show you guys some of the other features. And in this video is actually going to be featured in a full video. So if you guys want to see the full video of this store and the Midway, then make sure you guys go subscribe down below. But this is what it looks like in the dining room area at Philadelphia. So that is very, very cool as well. And right after this, we are going to be heading to an abandoned Dave & Buster's. The 6th ever Dave & Buster's is abandoned, and that location is in Chicago, Illinois. So we are going to head right over there right after this and show you guys what that store may look like. And this is the former Dave & Buster's in Chicago, Illinois, the Addison Dave & Buster's. And this location just shut down. It was the 6th location, number 6 after Philadelphia. So this is what it currently looks like now. The building is still here. And out of all the Dave & Buster's that I've seen, this one looks like the most like a Dave & Buster's, since everything is still here, but it's all boarded up now. But you guys can clearly tell that it used to be a Dave & Buster's because of the paint and everything. But now it is all boarded up and there is nothing inside anymore. But you can still check out the store and walk all around it, but they just took everything off. And the reason why this location is no longer here is because there's a lot of other locations in the Chicago region that are very close by, including Schaumburg, Illinois. So this location was just under demise and it was very, very old. Again, number 6. The 6th ever Dave & Buster's. I think it opened in like 1996 or something. You get the original brick right there. That is insane. But yeah, this location did shut down. It was a very, very big location, as you guys can tell. It is massive. And now they just added some new ones that are a lot newer and they're way smaller. And this wasn't even the only Dave & Buster's that closed in Illinois. There is also another one, the 7th store. They opened this one in Addison, and then there was another one right after in downtown Chicago in an old building, and that one is also shut down. But this one is a freestanding one, and yeah, this is a very, very crazy sight to see. One of the oldest Dave & Buster's of all time. And if you want to count the building, it's like, what, like the 5th oldest standing one? The 2nd Dave & Buster's got demolished. The 1st one is still there in Dallas. The 3rd building is still there in Houston. The 4th building is still a Dave & Buster's in Georgia. The 5th one is in Philadelphia, and then this one. So one of the oldest Dave & Buster's ever. And now it's currently closed and basically here, left abandoned, left to rot. Again, there's more archives online. Make sure you guys check that out. A lot of people have pictures before they boarded those doors. So make sure you guys check those out. But yeah, we're gonna go walk to the back of the store and show you guys the rest of the abandoned Dave & Buster's, Addison, Illinois. Let's go take a look. All right, almost to the back. Like I said, this is a very, very massive store. Very familiar to a lot of the store layouts. I know there's one in Hollywood, Florida, very similar. The St. Louis location is basically identical to this one. And a lot of these older stores are massive, but a lot of them have been closing recently. So here's the back of it. This is what it looks like currently. Everything is taken off, the paintings and everything, and like just any of the Dave & Buster's advertisements and whatever they had is completely stripped off this building. Here's what they have in the dumpster, if you guys are curious. It's just wood and stuff, nothing too familiar at all. It is all gone. And obviously the games have been moved to the other Dave & Buster's location. So I can only imagine the inside is completely stripped. And who knows if this building will get demolished. It's a prime area. There's a warehouse right next to it. But yeah, the building is just so old. And this is a big parking lot that you can use a lot for. So fortunately, I don't think this building will stick around much longer. But that is basically it for this store. One of the rare abandoned Dave & Buster's stores. It's very rare to find an abandoned Dave & Buster's arcade. There's not that many. I believe there's only around like 10. At least 10 in the country. And that's it. And this is one of them. unfortunately. And also the other Chicago store is abandoned as well. And then after that, there weren't that many after that. So this is one of the last remaining buildings of its style for Dave & Buster's. Like I was saying, one of the Dallas stores is completely demolished. The other one is basically intact. And then this one, you can obviously tell it used to be a Dave & Buster's with the painting and everything. So that is basically it. We're going to be heading to the next place. Chicago Gold Coast is what they call it. Show you guys some pictures of that. It's just a building, so if I don't get the footage of it, I will get the pictures up for you guys. But that is the next abandoned Dave & Buster's location, and that's basically 5 different abandoned Dave & Buster's locations. We got the 2 Dallas stores, the Houston store, this store in Addison, Illinois, and then the Chicago Gold Coast downtown Chicago store. 5 abandoned stores. There's not many left that are abandoned, but these are just the main ones. We're gonna take a look at the front one more time just so I can show you guys, because this is the most intact and definitely one of the ones I wanted to show you guys the most. So just the brick and everything is just left to rot. Like you guys can tell, this building definitely needed some work, and it is completely just done for. You can't really see inside there at all, but that is very crazy. And that's basically it. So yeah, abandoned Dave & Buster's here in Addison, Illinois. Make sure you guys keep watching, and we'll be off to the next store, show you guys some pictures right after this. All right guys, so this is the 7th ever Dave & Buster's in Chicago. Gold Coast is the location. This is in downtown Chicago, and the building is basically just empty still. You guys can kind of tell. You zoom in a little bit. There's nothing in there. It looks like they removed everything at this point, but this location used to be a Dave & Buster's, believe it or not. And it's kind of like Times Square in New York City, but this location just did not perform well. It's not in the best area in Chicago. There's not too many people around, but it shut down about 7 years ago, I'd say. So kind of recently, but this was the 7th ever Dave & Buster's. We were just at Addison, and here's the other Dave & Buster's in Chicago that opened right after it. So they are both gone now, which is kind of unfortunate. And then after that, the next store that they opened was Orland Park in Illinois. But that's basically it. Yeah, not many other stores. I basically got them all for you guys, but the only other store is Duluth, Georgia. So that's going to be the last store, and that'll basically conclude it. But there's nothing really else to show. But instead of you guys look at archives online, you'll see it. This is the exact building, but this one you can't really do anything. The one in Addison, you could actually walk around it, because that one closed very recently. This one closed about 7 years ago. But yeah, anyways, Duluth, Georgia, last abandoned store. And yeah, that's basically it for now. And then comment if you guys want a part 2, and if more stores fall on their demise, I might film some vlog footage of it. But yeah, this is Chicago Gold Coast is the location, and we'll be off to the next one. Make sure you guys stay tuned. So unfortunately, there was actually one other abandoned Dave & Buster's that I do want to talk about in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And unfortunately, that mall where the Dave & Buster's was is now completely demolished. It is absolutely nothing to this day. So unfortunately, I am not able to actually film that store for you guys, or any form of the abandoned site of it, because that is the only building of a Dave & Buster's that is completely demolished, and completely demolished inside that mall. But there was another Dave & Buster's in South Florida, in the suburb of Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale. That is the 8th ever Dave & Buster's, and that Dave & Buster's is actually still open, and you can check that video out right on my YouTube channel. But after that was the abandoned Dave & Buster's, and the mall is completely demolished in Bethsaida, Maryland, Washington, D.C. That is the 9th Dave & Buster's, but unfortunately, like I said, mall is demolished, cannot film any of that site. And then after that, they moved to California and Ontario. There's also a video of that on my YouTube channel. Then Cincinnati, and then Denver, and then so on and so forth. There were a couple more stores outside of those metros, and then I'm going to show you guys the abandoned Duluth, Georgia Dave & Buster's, which opened right after a bunch of those stores. And between all of the other ones, those stores are actually still open to this day, and I have tours of all of them, so make sure you guys go check it out down below. But we are going to be heading to the Duluth, Georgia Dave & Buster's to showcase one of the last abandoned Dave & Buster's and one of the last classic abandoned Dave & Buster's. I am so glad I got all these locations for you guys. Make sure you guys comment down below what you guys think about this video, and comment down below if I should do any style video of this with another arcade or anything else in the future. But we're going to be heading to Duluth, Georgia right now, showing you guys that abandoned Dave & Buster's and concluding this part of the video. So make sure you guys go down below, comment down below again. We're going to be heading over there right about now. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the closed Duluth, Georgia Dave & Buster's 19th store. It's a lot newer than Marietta, but this was the second Atlanta store that shut down 2019, I believe. But here's what it is now. Here's the entire parking lot, and currently it is all fenced off, boarded off for the parking lot, and it is a Amazon warehouse, so there's the Amazon. And unfortunately, there's a lot of delivery drivers and stuff too, so you can't really walk into the parking lot and stuff, but I'll try my best. But you cannot really go inside there. But check this out. You have the best and perfect view of the most awkward Dave & Buster's, like former Dave & Buster's. Look what they did. They kept the front side of the Dave & Buster's. So all those doors were from the original Dave & Buster's, and the lights and everything. So they just like kept it there, and they don't really use it anymore. So you guys can tell the stained glass and stuff, and the doors, those are Dave & Buster's doors. The brown doors. You can obviously tell it used to be a Dave & Buster's. A lot of these first stores are like this. It kind of looks like Marietta, but they've since gutted the place and added like truck places to go inside for the warehouse. But this used to be a Dave & Buster's, and this is the only part that you can really tell. But this is the Duluth, Georgia Dave & Buster's, and unfortunately, this is the only view of it. But I definitely wanted to capture it for you guys, because this is one of the very, very rare abandoned Dave & Buster's stores. So that's pretty much it. If you guys want a part 2, then comment down below. There's a couple more abandoned stores, but there's not many. But this is just one out of the many stores that we documented along the way, and pretty cool overall. So we're currently here in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is the last store that I'm going to be documenting for you guys. There is a couple more that I know of that shut down. A lot of those stores are way newer too, and the other stores, like I said, there's a store in Washington, D.C. It's completely demolished now, so there's no former side of that. But that's basically every single former operating Dave & Buster's store, first of its type. Make sure you guys go down below and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think once again. But that's not bad overall, and we're gonna head off to the next place, wherever it may be, and next arcade tour. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe, and I will see you soon.